night out. Ain't drunk.
From the time I walk in the classroom to the time I walk out,
At the end of 1976, Ness Aquino, the owner of this building, the Mabuhay Gardens, located at 443 Broadway in San Francisco, was about to go through a huge transition. Ness's nightclub, dinner and show restaurant, was failing at the time, so he decided to team up with Jerry Paulson and try a few punk shows. One of the very earliest pioneers in December was the Nuns from San Francisco. And Mary Monday had a burlesque show, a burlesque punk show. The show was so successful that he joined forces in January with Dirk Dirksen to start booking punk bands and new wave bands there. So it went from this to this. Become the Fab Mab, and them and the Whiskey A Go-Go in Hollywood would become the punk capitals of the West Coast. I'll be talking mostly about the first full year of 1977. The first 2 months at the Mabuhay didn't have a lot of shows. It was March that really exploded. The month of March brought a lot of great bands. Blondie played with Crime on March the 2nd and 3rd, Friday and Saturday night, the first big band out of the area to come to the Mabuhay Gardens.
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one way or another.
Britley Black and Crime, who opened the show for Blondie, was a local favorite. They became a very popular band in the punk era. Another very entertaining band in the early days of the Mab was Jane Dornacker and Pearly Gates, aka Leela and the Snakes. Their shows were always a lot of fun.
Everywhere we go, people stop and stare, but we be Leela and the Snakes, so we just don't care. Because we're rock and roll weirdos, with rock and roll feelings, just like you. A little bit sleazy, a little bit crazy, a little bit cheesy.
Near the end of the month, the first East Bay punk band, Street Punks, made their debut. They were paired with Magister Ludi. It'd be the first show of 5 shows to do with Magister Ludi. Magister Ludi also had many great shows there. And rounding out the end of March for the first 3 months was a very good band, The Dictators. April brought another big group, the Avengers. They got to open for the Ramones at Winterland. The Damned from England was the first big punk band that came overseas to the Mab. On November 20th, Cyclops and the Street Punks opened for the Damned. On the 21st, Thee Unholy Three and Strange Eyes opened the show for the Damned.
Is she really going out with him?
In the beginning of May, the mumps arrived. No, it wasn't the weather, and it's not a disease. It was another punk band that played at the Mab. Also, from Southern California came the Screamers, and near the end of the month came the Quick, with Hoi Polloi opening that show. On the 12th of the month, the Street Punks are credited with bringing the Pogo to the Mab. Don Lamb, Rick Clare, and Tony Lorenzo watched a documentary in England and decided to start the craze at the Mab. They brought 15 friends with them, including Kelly Saunders, who was working that night as security for the Mab. As the Pogo started, everyone was choking themselves and jumping up and down and everything while the Street Punks were playing. And Rabbit, who was also security that night, was unaware of what was happening. He thought a fight broke out, and as he ran up there, Kelly pulled him aside and told him what was happening, and Rabbit joined in. There we go. The Pogo craze was at the Mab. Hoi Polloi, another group from the early days, was making a big mark for themselves. They were gaining a vast following. In the month of June, Street Punks caught the eye of Mary Mundy and her manager Edwin, who happened to be the owner of New Wave magazine, which Howie Klein was the editor. Edwin promised Street Punks that if they came aboard and helped Mary write songs, that he would record them and get them gigs and have them weekly pay. Here's a couple of rare pics of Mary Mundy and Vermilion performing on stage with Street Punks. Here's the original song Pop Gun that was later recorded by her new band.
Daddy's got a hot one. Daddy's got a hot gun. Daddy's got a pop gun. Hitting targets, lots of fun. Can't wait for the suicide run. Boyfriend says he'll wait for me. 'Cause heavy metal's lots of fun, lots of fun. Daddy's got a hot one. Daddy's got a pop gun.
So through June and July, Street Punks and Mary Mundy wrote about 6 tunes for Mary and did only about 3 gigs. The most memorable one being on Pine and Polk Street at the Palms Cafe, the first ever punk concert on July the 16th. That was their last concert together as the Street Punks moved on because Edwin was not keeping his promises. Mary went on to record Pop Gun and Gave My Punk Jacket to Ricky. Although bassist Don Lamb still worked for the New Wave magazine. In August, Street Punks were on fire, pulling record crowds just like the Nuns, Crime, and the Avengers. Columnist and New Wave punk enthusiast Howie Klein wrote an article about Street Punks being the biggest punks in the Bay Area. On August 16th, New Wave magazine came out with Jennifer from the Nuns on the front page. Street Punks were left out of that issue even though Don Lamb was working for them. As politics would have it, Edwin was holding a grudge for them leaving Mary. However, Mary and Howie still wanted them in. Edwin, playing more politics, let Howie Klein go, the editor of New Wave magazine. It would be the only issue, and very successful. Bad move. In September, hometown friend of drummer Ken Cimino and Tony Lorenzo, Mike Tringali joins the Street Punks. Street Punks were picked by CBS News to be filmed on 6 and 11 o'clock news 2 nights in a row. They were doing an editorial on the punk and new wave explosion in New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. 1 band from each city got picked. Here are some clips from that newscast.
For the evening. That's actually a terrible height. It's the only way, however, that I can justify having charged you $3 by calling them co-stars. Actually, they're straight out of the gutter from the East Bay. Nowadays, almost anything can pass as performers. And in the best of tradition of sadomasochism, we proudly present one of the trashiest acts to have come along for a long time. You're ready. The only good punks are street punks.
Right after that video viewed, Street Punks played a fashion show for the high society at Union Square in San Francisco. The police showed up and had them under arrest. Seems like there were no permit. After talking with the elite high society ladies, the San Francisco police unarrested the Street Punks and the gig continued. Mike departed the following year and started the successful group The Dicks with Jimmy Crucifix. It was not unusual for bands to break up and go to other bands, or bands help out other bands when somebody would drop out. Like Jeff Bricker from Thee Unholy Three, he went to a band called Henry and then the 21st Century Blues Band. Jimmy Crucifix went to the Dicks and a very creative band called the White Trash Debutantes with superstar Ginger Coyote. Ginger Coyote was very big in the early days of new wave and punk. Her band was very successful. Also very close friends with Mary Mundy. Mary Mundy's new band was booked with Street Punks for a weekend at the Whiskey A Go-Go down in Hollywood. The Berlin Brats and the Go-Go's were there to see the bands from San Francisco. In November, a strange group from Chicago called Da Statics made their appearance. Wearing bags and hockey masks, nobody knew who they were. They showed up at a show 1 week before they were supposed to play in their outfits, and it stopped the show. The place sold out for the next week. With the lead singer War and Peace singing through toilets and burning baby dolls' heads and throwing them to the crowd just went crazy. Their big song was Peace and Flowers Are Dead.
Get away, you think you smell like a hog. Peace and flowers are dead. So are you.
30 years later on YouTube, we found out the people were Don Lamb and Rick Clare from Street Punks, Leonard Hayes and Joey Alves from Y&T. They pulled off a good one. Nobody knew who they were. At the end of the year in December, Cream magazine came out with an editorial about the punk bands and new wave bands from Los Angeles and San Francisco. 4 of them made it from the Fab Mab: the Nuns, Crime, the Avengers, and Street Punks. Before we wrap up the first complete year at the Fab Mab, gotta mention Dead Kennedys, a local Bay Area favorite. They also drew in very big crowds, a personal favorite. Show after show, year after year, it got better and bigger. Whether you were a big band or a little band, you got to play at a big venue, which added to the legacy of the Fab Mab. It was the contribution of all the bands that led to the success of the Mabuhay Gardens. Dirk continued booking shows with new wave, punk, and hard rock bands. Truly, the Fab Mab was the place to be and a fun time to be alive. So this building at 443 Broadway in San Francisco has quite a legacy and a history. One of the tops in the entertainment world. In a lot of current history write-ups of the Fab Mab, a few of the bands have been left out that were major contributors, like the Street Punks. It's time to add them to the history. They were there. Here are some more of the bands, and I applaud them all.
We got one more to do for you people.
Negative K, nothing further. Just see the cabbie on the corner.